Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to share with you my summer TBR. So if you're new to my channel, I do not do monthly TBRs, I do seasonal TBRs. I like the idea of having a TBR, but having a monthly TBR is too restrictive for me. So I choose to do seasonal TBRs, which I break down in 3-month gaps. And so my summer TBR will be for June, July, and August, which are my summer months. So these are some of the books that I am hoping to be able to read during the months of June, July, and August. So the first books that I want to share with you are books 6, 7, and 8 in the Anne of Green Gables series. I am doing a read along of the entire Anne of Green Gables series called the Anne Along. I'm hosting it with Tia from Tia and All the Books. And so we started reading these in January. And for June, July, and August, we will be reading Anne of Ingleside, Rainbow Valley, and Rilla of Ingleside and finishing out the series. We will be done after this. So that is really exciting. So those are three of the books that I'm hoping to get to for the summer season. The next 3 books I'm hoping to get to, one of my annual goals this year was to read through the Harry Potter series again. I had never reread it. This is my first reread of Harry Potter. I read them initially when they were coming out, and I haven't read them since. So I've been rereading them, and I have kind of joined a read-along group that I'm doing with an online book club that I'm part of. And so for June, July, and August, we are reading the last 3 books of that series as well. So I have Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I have Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And I have Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And I will be reading those 3 books, one a month, one for June, one for July, one for August as well. And that's been a really, really fun way to get through the series and also be able to chat with some people about it. Some people are reading it for the first time ever, which is really fun. And some people are very, very well versed in the series. So it's been a lot of fun to take part in that read along as well. So anyway, those are 3 more books that I am hoping to get to. And then I also have a couple of buddy reads planned for this summer. So I went ahead and added those books onto this list because these are kind of the books that I are really trying to make a priority. And so buddy reads are obviously a priority. So one of the books that I'm going to be reading is Leviathan Wakes. This is a sci-fi series that was made into a TV series, The Expanse. And my husband started watching The Expanse, and then I found out it was based off of a book, and I mean, come on, then you gotta read it. Also, I've been really in the mood for sci-fi lately, and I don't think I've ever read any adult sci-fi, so I'm very excited for this. I take that back. I have read adult sci-fi, but I haven't read any like intense adult sci-fi, so I'm hoping that this will kind of fit the bill for that. So that is one book that I already have a buddy read planned for. And then another book that I have a buddy read planned for is Little Bee by Chris Cleave. This was originally a book that I just randomly picked off of a shelf at a thrift store, and I liked the way it looked, and so I bought it. And I think it's literary fiction, if I'm not mistaken, but the back of it says, "This is the story of 2 women. Their lives collide one fateful day, and one of them has to make a terrible choice. The kind of choice we hope you never have to face. 2 years later, they meet again. The story starts there." So that sounds good. So I am planning on reading this with Danny at Spinelli Speaks. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. Fun summer read. And then I always try to include some of the books off of my 2020 annual TBR on these TBRs to kind of help keep me motivated, to keep me getting through that list. And so I picked out 3 books from that list to add to this TBR. The first of which is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I've never read Pride and Prejudice, guys, and I really, really need to. And I'm kind of like, I'm in a sci-fi mood. I'm kind of also in a mood to start trying some classics. I don't read classics, so this might be a total flop, but I at least want to try it. So I'm planning on reading that this summer. And then to go with my sci-fi mood, I also put The Martian by Andy Weir on this. I've never read this, and this is a pretty hyped sci-fi book. So I'm excited to finally get to this one. That's one that I've been wanting to read for years. And then the last book I don't have yet. It's in the mail on its way to me right now, but I want to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, probably here in the next like 2 months. I don't know. I'm in a mood to try some new stuff, to get away from historical fiction, get away from kind of the heavy contemporaries, and just try some new stuff. And anyway, mysteries and thrillers are not really my thing, and so I tried to put a couple on my annual TBR, and I'm kind of in the mood to start picking some up. So this is going on my TBR as well. All right, and then to branch out and to kind of encompass some more age ranges, I wanted to put a couple of YA books on this. And so the first one that I put on is one of my most anticipated releases of the year, and that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I believe that this is told in verse, just like The Poet X, and wait, The Fire and High was not told in verse, but The Poet X was. And so I think this one is told in verse, and it's about these two girls. One lives in New York maybe, and one lives in, I'm gonna get this wrong, the Dominican Republic maybe. I don't remember exactly where. Anyway, there's these two girls, and they are half sisters. They have the same dad, and they don't know about each other at all until their dad dies. And when he dies, they find out about each other, and it's just kind of about that. But I'm looking forward to picking this up. Primarily, I just want to get this in audiobook because Elizabeth Acevedo is narrating it. She's narrated her other two books that she's written, and I love her books and her narration. So I'm very, very much looking forward to that. And that was just recently released, so that went on this TBR. And then the other YA book that I'm very much looking forward to, and I recently picked up, is Marie Lu's The Kingdom of Back. This is about Mozart's sister, who was also Amadeus Mozart, his sister, who was also a very, very talented musician. However, back then, girls weren't allowed to be musicians, and so this is kind of about her, and I think it has some magical realism in it. She comes in contact with somebody who basically tells her she can have her dreams, but it comes at a price, sort of thing. But it's not that long, and this cover, you guys, is probably my favorite cover ever. I say that every time this appears in a video, but I love this so much. Oh, excuse me. So anyway, that one definitely I am super excited for. And then I also wanted to put a couple of middle grade on this list. I'm trying not to read as much middle grade because I feel like I've completely oversaturated my channel in middle grade, and everybody's probably about sick of it by now. So I'm trying to branch out into new things, but I also have to stay true to me, and so I wanted to include a couple middle grade on this, and so I have two. The first of which is Roof Toppers by Katherine Rundell. I was recently introduced to Katherine Rundell via a YouTube video that she did with Anna James, who wrote Tilly and the Book Wanderers, and after hearing her interview, I am super, super intrigued to pick up some of her books. So I actually own 3 of her books, and I've never read her before. And so this was the one that appeals to me the most, and it is about Sophie, who was orphaned in a shipwreck, but she's convinced her mother survived, and she goes kind of out on an adventure to prove that she survived. And she runs into this boy who walks tightropes and lives in the sky. In a race across the rooftops of Paris, will they be able to find her mother before it's too late? So it's about these people who live on the rooftops in Paris, and that just sounded fascinating, so I'm excited to read that. And then the last one that I have is the second book in a series. I recently read the first book and loved it, and that is Artemis Fowl and the Arctic Incident. So Artemis Fowl was the first book. I read it, I loved it, and so I would really like to continue the series before I completely forget all about it. And so I went ahead and added the second book of the series to my summer TBR, which it's the Arctic Incident. So it's probably set somewhere cold. So maybe I'll read this in the heat of summer and it'll cool me down a little bit. Who knows? So anyway, those are all of the books, well, some of the books that I would like to read this summer. But yeah, if you have read any of these, as always, I would love to hear your opinions about them. The ones that I did not mention, if I was buddy reading them, if you would like to do buddy reads for any of them, let me know. I'm always open for buddy reads. It really keeps me motivated to get my books read. So yeah, and also, what are some books that you are really looking forward to reading this summer? Let me know that as well. So that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe, and until next time, see ya!